Hey everybody, Pete Warner here with Corey Fiasco.
Hey guys.
My friends Brian and Deneen Johnstone. We are at the Wave doing our dining show review today. So let's go check it out. All right, so for my appetizer, I had what may be the single greatest invention since fire. It's called bacon and eggs. It is a maple lacquered pork belly. Nothing wrong with any of those words. With a perfect egg and Tillamook smoked cheddar grits, $14. Now the perfect egg is actually an egg, I believe they explained it to me that it's an egg that is poached at 144 degrees for 90 minutes or something like that. The last time I was here, I had this for my appetizer. I was going to get something else for my main course. But this was so good, I ordered it again for my main course. And I'm fond of saying that the Flying Fish has the best pork belly on property, and I still think their pork belly is amazing. But I have to give the crown on pork belly to this dish and the Wave. And now this is now the third time I've had it. Consistent. The grits are creamy. The Tillamook cheese really is not overpowering. It's a nice cheddar flavor to it. The maple lacquer on top of the pork belly is just sinful. And when you take this poached egg and the grits and the pork belly all together, individually, like the grits and the pork belly are all each by themselves are very, very good. When you take all three of these elements together, it just creates this whole different flavor profile that's unbelievable. $14 for this. I think not only is this probably the best appetizer I've had at a Disney restaurant in a long time, I think it's also an amazingly good value for the price considering where we are. This is walking distance to the Magic Kingdom. And I can't say enough about how amazing this appetizer is. I give it very, very high marks.
All right, so for my appetizer, I got the seasonal salad. It has some like different kind of almonds in it and a house-made vinaigrette. Usually when they have vinaigrette on a salad, it's kind of basic. It's kind of your average vinaigrette, but I was actually really surprised with this one. It was fresh pureed strawberries. Nothing like I've ever had before. It tasted really, really good. It tasted like fresh strawberries. And the almonds were a really, really nice touch to it. It had this crumbly cheese on it, which I'm not really a fan of cheese or crumbly cheese. And the menu didn't actually say that it was on there. However, I didn't mind it as much as I thought I was going to. And overall, this was a really good salad. The price on it was $8.50, which really isn't that bad considering. I think it's the most affordable. That and the Caesar salad being the most affordable options as appetizers. I'd get it again, and I don't think that's an unfair price for it.
Okay, for my appetizer, I got the Caesar salad, and the Caesar salad came with Caesar dressing, obviously, a brown butter crouton, and shaved Parmesan on top. It was $8.50. I would say it was a pretty solid Caesar salad. The lettuce was fresh, the croutons were tasty, and the Parmesan on top was very good. I would say that it had the perfect amount of dressing, and Caesar salad is usually my go-to salad, and I would definitely say that I would get it again.
So I got the bacon and egg is just like Pete did, and he was not exaggerating. They were delicious. I know he had mentioned this on the show before, and this is probably not something I would usually go for if we weren't with Pete, to be honest with you. I wouldn't usually get pork belly. Grits, I will eat them, but it's not usually my go-to. Same thing with eggs, and just everything together was just a perfect combination. I would absolutely get this again, recommend it. Like I said, just perfect combination of all three things. Just the pork belly alone, just kind of cutting into that was phenomenal. Very good, and just mixing all three together, like on your fork, was just melted in your mouth. It was delicious. So absolutely would recommend it again.
Okay, for my main course, I tried the grilled beef tenderloin. This is I want to say that was about an 8-ounce filet with potato gratin, jumbo asparagus, and a red wine reduction, $34. That is a really good price for a filet. 34 on Disney property. I know those of you watching from other parts of the country are like, oh my God, at Disney that's a bargain. That's a bargain price for a filet. And the first one I was served was, I asked for it medium. It came out closer to medium well. It was a little on the tough side. Still, it was very flavorful, but I have to compare it against fillets I've had at other restaurants. And maybe it's unfair because actually the ones in my head that I'm comparing it to are technically signature restaurants, which are 2 table service credits, and this is 1. So maybe that's not a fair comparison, but that's where my head went. It was good. The potato gratin, which I didn't have much of because I'm really not supposed to, was amazing. And so was the asparagus. The asparagus was perfectly cooked. The red wine reduction, I thought was even better than the red wine reduction they do at Gico. When you get the filet on the bed of mac and cheese and the red wine reduction, I think this was a better red wine reduction sauce. For $34, it's absolutely worth every penny. But I would, if you're like me and you're kind of a steak snob, it's good, but it's not going to rise to the level of what you're going to get at other places on property. If I were them, I would go ahead and up the price of this and go with a better cut, go with a higher quality cut. But they did bring out, when I mentioned that it was a little overcooked, they went right ahead and brought out another one that was perfectly cooked and was a lot more tender when I cut into it, and very flavorful. It didn't need salt, it didn't need seasoning, it didn't even really need the second one that I got didn't need the red wine reduction. The first one did. And that's why I always order that reduction sauce on the side, because I want to know what that steak tastes like. Now with the red wine reduction, it's out of this world. I mean, but a lot of times, restaurants, and I've said this before on the show, that a lot of times if restaurants are doing a sauce on a steak, they're hiding something, they're covering something. So I always like to get it on the side. But would I order it again? Probably not. But I took tastes of what other people had at the table. I will tell you the short ribs, I will absolutely order the next time I'm here. So, a little disappointed in the tenderloin, but not enough for it to knock any major points off the experience. It's going to take an awful lot to knock bacon and eggs off its perch. That really sets a great standard. So, there you go.
So for my entree, I got the noodle bowl, which has braised short ribs, stir-fried vegetables, and a sesame soy marinated soft-boiled egg. When I first saw the egg, I kind of was a little curious. I didn't understand how it fit into the dish, and I think Pete had a similar reaction to that. Like, it's just a soft-boiled egg with the stuff inside of it. But then I tasted it, and It made a lot of sense at that point. It really complemented the sauce super well, which is my favorite part of the dish. And part of the vegetables that are inside there are these little green onions. I love green onions, and I love them even more in this sauce. The sauce was definitely the highlight of this whole bowl. They gave me a little spoon because I guess it's popular to just sip it like a soup. It's really good broth. The braised beef short ribs, I was really surprised with. There was some fatty pieces on it. And usually when I see fatty pieces of meat, I just completely steer away from it and don't even touch it. But I thought for the review, hey, I'll try the fatty piece. And it was actually really good. It wasn't like tough or gamey or anything like that, like sometimes fatty pieces are. It was just like another soft piece of the braised short rib. I honestly didn't even tell the difference in taste and texture from the actual piece of the short rib. So really good entree. I've been here before for dinner. I've gotten different things. I've never gotten the noodle bowl. I wish that I have, because it's probably my favorite entree on this menu right now. And again, the menu does change. So this is a menu that does change with the seasons, but I was a big fan of this. And if I didn't mention before, It was $24, which is actually pretty cheap. It's one of the cheapest things that you can get as an entree.
And for my entree, I got the braised beef short rib. It came with a roasted garlic potato puree, winter vegetables with a pepperdew vinaigrette, and this was $28. I loved the short rib. The short rib was delicious. It was tender. It melted in your mouth. The flavor was great. The potatoes, I would say they were okay. Definitely when I took a bite of them with the short rib, it was very good. A bite on their own, it was okay. The winter vegetables were very good. It was a cauliflower, a tomato, and what else was in there? Some snap peas. It was very good and a little bit on the sweeter side with the pepperdew vinaigrette. But overall, the entree was very good, and I would definitely get this again.
So I also got the grilled beef tenderloin, same as Pete. The only difference with mine was he got the asparagus, I got the broccoli. The broccoli and potatoes were very good, just normal broccoli, nothing too exciting to write home about with that. The steak, I definitely agree, not the best quality of beef. Definitely had much better steaks on property. We had STK earlier this week. That was definitely a better steak. Le Cellier comes to mind. That's definitely like filet compared to another filet. This one does not meet up with that quality of beef, but like Pete said, the price is very different by probably about $20, $30. But I do agree with Pete that the red wine reduction with the grilled beef tenderloin was delicious. That definitely saved the meal. Without that, it was just kind of like a okay blah steak, but that reduction really took it over the top for me. So I would probably get it again. Definitely not my first choice coming back here. Definitely nothing as good as that bacon and eggs that we had for the appetizer, but pretty solid meal though.
Okay, so for dessert, I ordered what I thought was a perfectly safe dessert, a trio of sorbet. This was a cranberry rosé, an apple moscato, and a tropical fruit. Now, when he was going over the names, that should have been my first indication that something may be amiss with these, namely rosé and moscato. But you know what? I let my guard down. I've made it, I've spoken on the show many times about the fact I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm usually really, really careful about desserts. I just let my guard down. And it turns out there's alcohol in these. The manager came over and she explained that this is cooked into the syrup, so it is cooked down. But for me, that needs to be on the menu. That this may contain alcohol. And in a restaurant that's probably going to be serving kids, whether it's cooked down or not, I think parents should know that there's going to be alcohol in this. That being said, they were very good. In fact, every dessert I tried here was amazing. And prior to that little awareness, these desserts get incredibly high marks. Their pastry chef is very talented. That was unfortunate. That really kind of put a damper on this for me. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't like being surprised by that. And I was trying to explain to her, when I order a red wine reduction, I know what I'm getting, and I do know the alcohol cooks off, and it's perfectly safe. But I like to know. I don't like being surprised with that, and I think that's what's kind of bothering me right now, is that I'm ordering a sorbet. It's the last place I'm going to expect alcohol to be. If I'm ordering a tiramisu, that's the first question out of my mouth, because many tiramisus are done with alcohol. They're done with rum. So there are desserts I expect that, and I do not expect it in a sorbet. And I think, if they're going, obviously very inventive with the desserts. I was incredibly impressed how inventive these desserts are, and obviously they're carrying that creative spirit over to the sorbet by doing something a little different with it, and I applaud that. I absolutely applaud that. But for me, that's a big mistake. Unfortunately, a big mistake.
Okay, so I got the seasonal flight, which had this blueberry type pie in it. It was this blueberry with oats and ice cream. That was my favorite thing on the plate, but everything on it was really, really good. It had a cheesecake on it too, and like a strawberry shortcake. Both of those were really good. But that blueberry pie, that's what I want to call it. I don't know what else you could call it. To me, it's a blueberry pie. And it's tied for my favorite thing on the table for dessert right now. Because the other thing that it's tied with was that chocolate brownie as a creme brulee brownie. That took my breath away. It honestly did. It reminded me of one of those chocolate molten cake kind of things, but like way fancier. I mean, I don't know if I had creme brulee before, but to me it was like that. And honestly, when I took my first bite, it was warm. It was very chocolatey and sweet, and it was delicious. That and that blueberry pie thing, that's what I'm calling it, the blueberry pie. Amazing. But everything at the table was amazing. Like Pete was saying, we didn't know the sorbet was made with alcohol. That was a big surprise to me too. Like, you really wouldn't expect. But that being said, it tasted good. It did taste good. And then what you got, what was that called?
Creme brulee.
That was a creme brulee.
Yes.
Okay, that was also really good. It had fresh fruit on top. I got a little bit of everything in my spoon. Also really yummy. But again, that chocolate molten cake brownie thing and that blueberry pie, out of this world.
So we got 4 different desserts. We got the creme brulee, which was $7, which is what I got. We got the trio of sorbet, which was $11. The seasonal flight was $11, and the chocolate flight was also $11. Like everybody has said so far, all the desserts were delicious. Like I said, I got the creme brulee, and that was very good. If that's on a menu, that's usually my go-to. And this was up to my standards. This was a very good creme brulee. Yeah, just like everybody else was saying, the creme brulee brownie was unreal. The molten lava cake, whatever that was delicious.
That was the bread pudding.
Bread pudding, I'm sorry. And yeah, also the blueberry pie was also very good. I'm not even really a huge fan of blueberries, and that was very good. So yeah, all the desserts. I actually did not have any of the sorbet yet, but everything was very tasty. I am very full now, and yeah, I'm in a sugar coma at this point. So yeah, that was very good.
For my dessert, I got the chocolate flight, which came with a chocolate bread pudding, a creme brulee brownie, and then a German chocolate cake. Like everyone has said so far, the creme brulee brownie was amazing. At first, just the sounds of it sounds a little bit odd, like maybe, I don't know, is this really going to be that good? But it was amazing. The bread pudding was also very, very good. The German chocolate cake, that one was okay. You have to be a fan of coconut, but I think that's a little bit obvious. That's usually part of a German chocolate cake. But the other dessert, the blueberry tart, was amazing as well. I would say that overall, we really enjoyed all of the desserts here, and I would definitely get them all again.
Okay, so we have had our meal. Deneen, let's start with you. What did you think overall?
Overall, I thought it was very good. I would definitely eat here again. This is my first time eating here, and I would definitely give it another try. I know that they mentioned that their menu is seasonal, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying some new items that will be on the menu.
And Brian, how about you?
Same thing, like Deneen said, this was our first time coming here, so everything I had was very good. Like, for the appetizer.
You had the same thing I did.
Oh my god, yeah.
How could you forget that?
I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, the bacon eggs were just unreal. They were phenomenal. The steak was pretty good, not great, but above average. And the desserts were all very tasty. Everything we got, I would definitely get again.
How about you, Corey?
So I've eaten here multiple times. I'm definitely going to come back again. This is my first time eating the things that I ate here today, though. The noodle bowl was the best entree that I've ever had here for dinner, and I really do like how the menu changes. Some of my favorite things have rotated out of the menu. There used to be this like pesto salad I really liked, but the desserts, which I've never had dessert here before, were probably the highlight of the entire meal for me. I thought the desserts were seriously like an A plus desserts. The service was really good. Comparative to other times that I've been here, I'd say the service was probably a little bit better than normal, but still all around great meal. I'd probably give it about an 8.5, a generous 8.5. There was that issue where they weren't including things that were in dishes on the menu. I know we had that issue with the sorbet, and also
Which we are now calling relapse sorbet.
yeah, right. Also with my salad though, like I'm not a fan of cheese. Like I get over it and I eat it, but I'm not a fan of cheese, and there was cheese on my salad. Didn't say that there would be on the menu, but nonetheless, really good meal.
Yeah, here's the thing. Whatever my feelings are about the sorbet, I know that that's really kind of personal to me and not a major consideration for most people. So, to a degree, I have to factor it out of a fair review. Prior to that experience, I was saying to these guys that this is a signature level restaurant for one table service credit. The way people are driving themselves crazy to get into Be Our Guest, and now that the menu has changed to the prefix, Be Our Guest is very good, don't get me wrong, but Be Our Guest is still going to set you back $70 a person. At least. 4 adults had 4 appetizers, 4 entrees, 4 desserts with my Tables in Wonderland discount. This was $220. This was a $50 a person dinner. And I got to tell you, it was worth more than that, in my opinion. I thought the food was very good. Like I said, the steak was a little, was what it was. But it wasn't bad at all. The appetizer was amazing. The dessert chef should get a Nobel Prize. I mean, those desserts were unbelievable. So really and truly, if you can't get a reservation over at Be Our Guest, you're a 5-minute walk to one of the best kept secrets, I think, on property right now. I don't think a lot of people realize how good this restaurant is. And I think it's also a nice break from a day in the Magic Kingdom. And this is breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I've eaten all 3 meals here, and I've been very impressed with all of them. And I'm going to see how long I can talk and make Corey hold that camera. He was in the military, so let's just see how in shape he is. I have to ding them. I have to ding them on the sorbet. I think it's irresponsible. If there's going to be alcohol, even if it's reduced, you need to note it. People need to know that. For that reason, I'm going to give it an 8 instead of the 9 or 9.5 I probably would have given it. But I want to just put the caveat in there that it's very personal to me, and that may not matter, or probably won't matter to 99% of the people out there. So, what about you? What are you going to give it, Deneen?
I would give it a 9. I loved my entree. I had gotten the short ribs. The Caesar salad was great, and then the desserts were, like they said, amazing. So I would definitely give it a 9.
I also don't want to. I don't want to overlook the service. The service was outstanding.
Yes.
Service was outstanding. What do you give it?
I would say an 8.5 as well. Like everything was very good. Bacon and eggs again. That was a 10 by itself. But the desserts probably a 10, and the entree probably, I would say maybe a 7-ish or so. So overall, I'd say probably like 8.5 is probably where I'd go with it.
Yeah, I recommend the short ribs. Deneen had the short ribs. They were out of this world. So I'm telling you, really, this is a place you want to check out if you haven't been here. Great place to come if in the Magic Kingdom. Want a little break, or you're having trouble finding that reservation at Be Our Guest or one of the other restaurants over there. So thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. That will do it for this week's Disney Dining Show. Thank you, Brian and Deneen, for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.